Why did I join the Army? 1939, coming off of the Depression. We was so poor we couldn't even pay attention. The Army comes to town. I was 18 years old, and I was ready to leave. And, of course, I was raised with a single parent, and I was ready to leave, and I went in the service. Of course, they paid good back then. Remember, that was $21 a month, 3 hots and a cot. Hots being a meal, you know, if you got one. A cot, if you could find one. But it was kind of a primitive situation back then.
And you went to Fort Knox first?
Fort Knox. Fort Knox. 26 October 1939. The first 2 years, I was in communications, what we call OP. That's observation post in an artillery outfit, and I was the OP operator, and for the first 2 years, and then 18 years of my time was what they call a unit supply sergeant. I kept tab of all of the equipment in the supply room, like TO&E. Well, TO&E, that's Table of Organization and Equipment. And wherever we went, I was responsible for all of the kitchen equipment, the men's clothes, the motor pool, and what have you. Yeah, a unit supply sergeant takes care of all the equipment and everything within that particular company, which I did for 18 years.
Now, how'd you become a paratrooper?
That was 1944, March of 1944. And they was putting out a bulletin. Everybody could qualify to be airborne training. Everybody that could qualify for airborne training they put it down that all commands would release those personnel to being airborne, which I didn't know at the time, but they was building up for D-Day, the 6th of June, 1944, and I went through jump school in March of 44. And D-Day was March 6, 1944. And I went through school. Of course, I couldn't get my act together in the class I had to go back a week to make jump off them old 250-foot towers, and my class went and made D-Day, and I wound up with another division and went and hit Germany in January 45. We're making a training jump down in Camp McCall, North Carolina. Being a creative as a bunch of GIs is, back then they didn't have the billings and everything, and we done got out there for an early morning jump. And we were sitting around with old chutes waiting for the Air Force to come and crank them old 47s up and make a drop. Well, here come this kit. Here come the kit. Well, I was in a stick. Well, a stick is 4 men to jump out of the little airplane, and O'Brien was in the bunch. And the kitten. Well, he was about to starve to death. And I don't know where everybody get to pet the cat, and somebody had a cookie or a cracker and feeding him. Time to load up and shoot up. And we had jump pockets on the side of our clothes like you see nowadays. We all call them jump pockets. And O'Brien stuck the cat in his pocket, which the lieutenant seen him do it. Said, leave all, and I don't get that cat, and I don't want him on that aircraft. That was a disobeying an order. But O'Brien stuck the thing in his pocket. We got on the aircraft and we got loaded up, and O'Brien sitting there patting the kitty. Stand up, hook up, and stand in the door, and out the door we went. And I was right behind him. I never heard as much squalling. I thought he had a malfunction with his chute. And that cat was eating him up, eating him up. And he hit the ground. And he got him out of his pocket, and that cat went one way and O'Brien the other, and the medics come over there, thought he had a bad break or whatever, and it wasn't. All it was that cat was eating him up in that pocket, not to mention other things that happened. And then by that time, Lieutenant Shaw come over there, said, I told you not to jump that cat. Turned around to a medic. You got any iodine in that pocket? Yes, sir. Drop your britches. He poured that iodine in there, and O'Brien he come unglued. They was going to evacuate him off the drop zone. No, you not either. Get your pack and let's get in line. And we had us a forced march back to the barracks. O'Brien would hobble along, you know, and everybody, once in a while somebody would say, kitty, kitty, he was either fight or run, because O'Brien would eat up. That cat had eat him up. Not to mention that urine where he peed all over him. How well I remember O'Brien. Don't never try to jump a cat. Jump a dog, yeah. Don't jump no cat.